This thing on?
Hey there, I'm back at it again. This time I'm using a Northern Brewer 1 gallon kit, and this is the White House Honey Porter. It comes in a box like this. This is actually an extract with grain, so I have a smaller bag of grain. I have some dry malt extract, which I explained what that was in my earlier broadcast, and a cute little bottle of honey. I guess that's the honey part of the honey porter. So anyway, I got a little pot here, and I'm going to do all my brewing in this one pot. I have about a quart and a half of water boiling, and then what I'm going to do is called steeping the grains, which I'll show you. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like making a huge tea bag with your grains and steeping it in some liquid for a little bit. So I'll be right back. Looks like my water's just about ready to steep, and we'll get on it. Alright, you can see there's some steam coming out of there. So we are ready to steep away. Now, what I have in here, I'm going to turn this off for now, but what I have are the grains in a grain bag. I'm just going to take this off. Now, if we are all graining, we would throw all the grain in the water, but we're not all graining. We are extract brewing today, so we want to get the flavor of these grains. It might look a little weird what I'm doing here, but you'll see what I'm doing in a minute. So we want to get the flavor out of these grains. So we put them in a grain bag, and we stick this right in the water, just like it's tea. We'll come back in about 10-15 minutes and take that out. Simple. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I just kind of wanted to show you what's going on in the pot here. So, there and there, we have the grains in there steeping, looking beautiful and lovely. And you can just pull that out easily, and as you can see, hopefully you can see, what's pouring out of that bag is just the same type of things that you would do in an all grain like we did the other day with the Brooklyn Brew Shop kit. Only this is to get just some of the flavors and the essence. It's not doing the full duty of what we did the other day. And you're not required to do this, but I've been brewing for a while. I just know there's still flavor in there. So I just grabbed some water just to wash that down a little bit more. And I'm going to let this sit a little bit. One of the things you want to try not to do, which I used to do in the past, is squeeze this to death like this. I'm being gentle right now, but I used to literally wrap my hands around this thing and squeeze it to death. You don't want to do that because you're also just introducing bad flavors as well. So you want to prevent that. But I'm kind of hard-headed, as you can see. I'm still squeezing this a little bit. But so you got some nice wort there. You can discard that bag, or you can make stuff with it if you want. I don't know anybody personally that uses their grains to make stuff with it, but there's tons of recipes out there if you want to. I'm going to get my fire started under here again, and we are going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to add the dry malt extract and I believe our first hops. I'm going totally by direction here, but again, this one's easier than an all grain because, well, let me show you. Instead of spending an hour or so doing a mash with the grains, we are actually going to use this, which is some Golden Light. There's all kinds of dry malt extract, but basically this is the same thing. This bag is the same thing that we did the other day with the Brooklyn Brew Shop all grain It's just that this work was done for us, so instead of waiting an hour and a half to get this, we got it now. We're just waiting for the water to boil now, and that'll be a few minutes. So I've got boil, and all that smoke that you see there is not coming just from the pot there. It's also coming from a smoker. So for the first 45 minutes, I'm going to put this bag of dry malt extract in there, and my first hops, which is a Chinook hops. So we just pour that all in there like so. And then, can you come grab this? You just go put it in the trash. Thank you. I'm my little assistant. So as you can see, that's dissolving quite nicely. I'm going to turn this pot down because I don't want boilovers. Excuse me, I think the smoke is making me So this is dissolving in there. And right now what we have is wort. And the wort is what we're going to create. And once we add yeast to it, the yeast will eat all the sugar, causing CO2 to become alcohol and carbonate the beer. Well, we won't do all that at once, but we'll use more sugar later on to activate the yeast again to do the CO2 to carbonate the beer. But right now we have wort. Alright, I think that's pretty dissolved in there good enough. And here's the, I hope I got that far enough so you can see it. The Chinook Alpha 11.2. And this is just the right amount for a 1 gallon batch. That's why I love getting these brew kits from either Northern Brewer or Brooklyn Brew Shop, because they measure everything for you. So I got my hops in there. This looks like it wants to boil over. I'm going to try not to let it boil over. Alright, so it's nice and foamy and milky. It looks delicious already. I kind of want to drink it now. Wort's nice and sweet. I'm not going to put the top back on it because I don't want it to boil over. But we'll be good. So I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes. I'll be back to add my last hops and I believe some honey. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. As you can tell, it has the wort has reduced considerably. You can see it right in there. And excuse me, I am now to turn off the pot, which I just did. That's why the boiling stops. And now I'm to add my last hops, which is the German Hallertau. One of my favorite hops to use. It's kind of like using a Saaz hops. It's just, you know, a basic hop for overall flavor. And then my little jar of honey. What I did was I put this in a hot water bath for a few minutes to try to get the honey to loosen up a little bit. And this stuff's pretty hot, so I'm going to dunk this in a little bit. I'm trying not to burn myself in the process. I'm going to dunk that in a little bit. Give that a little shake, because I like getting all my stuff. Alright. So that's all my honey. My last Hallertau, and 5 minutes from now I need to put this in a bath to start cooling. So now I have brew in a ice bath, And just like the other day, we need to get this puppy down to 70 or so before we can pitch. So I'm going to let that sit there for a moment. Right now we're down to, looks like 150, so we're going down pretty good. Alright, so I don't know if you can see that or not because I'm just kind of aiming it for you. But we're about at 90, which is pretty good. A few more minutes and we'll be done. We are at about 70 degrees, so I'm going to put this in the gallon jug and pitch the yeast. Alright, my wort being down to about 70 degrees, cool to the touch. I am now going to transfer it into the gallon jug. And just as the one that we did the other day, we need to get everything up to a little bit past the 1 gallon mark. The literal 1 gallon mark. Meaning the word 1 gallon. Which I don't see on here. Here it is over here. It's right there. You probably can't see it because I can barely see it and I'm really close to it. And as you can see, we're only halfway there. So I have some water here that is, again, filtered water from my refrigerator. Alright, so I got it filled up with my just my regular filtered water. And I got it just trying to find out where it is. I think it's over here. I think the foam is hitting the 1 gallon, which is right about here. I did a little less because I've been having so much runover lately. I didn't want to screw it up too badly. Now I have 2 different kinds of yeasts. The kit came with this, I don't know if you can read that Nottingham Dan Star. As a matter of fact, here, let me do this close up for you. This is a Nottingham Dan Star. And then I usually use Safe Ale US 05. It's my go-to yeast when I don't have liquid yeast. But I'm just going to go ahead and use what was sent with the kit because just like Brooklyn Brewer, I trust what they send with their kits. So if you remember what I did before, I'm going to take this off. Kind of filled it prematurely now that I think about it. Take that off. I'm going to set that somewhere so I don't lose my sanitizing liquid. Now, I'm going to take this, I'm going to pour the yeast in there just as is. I'm just going to do a little clumping, but like I said in my previous video, that'll all work out in the wash. And then we're going to do 2 things at once here. We're going to get that yeast circulated in there and we're aerating the wort at the same time. And the aeration is important because it's just giving the yeast some oxygen to work with. And that's about it. So you do that for about 2 minutes. Stick your airlock back on. Make sure that's nice and tight so that don't pop off. And as always, I will give you a little preview of the yeast action once it starts. Hopefully I can get to it before it boils over this time so you can actually see it bubbling. I'll set this next to the other one I did the other day, which looks like it's just about done, but I always let things ferment for at least a week before moving it to either a secondary or just letting it sit there for another week to clear on its own. Alright, this is the day after. I want to say it hasn't been 24 hours yet. It's probably been more like 12. Maybe a little more than 12. But as you can see, we have some action already. And I'm not sure if I have the camera positioned in the right spot, but if we go down here, you can see. Let me get it back in there a little bit. Just, we can see all the foaming action going on in there. And then, of course, this is what it looks like when you are fermenting. And if anybody doesn't know what an airlock does, basically we put the water in the airlock and it has another little cover mechanism in there. So basically air can come out but no air can get in, and that way your stuff doesn't get contaminated. It doesn't look like I'm going to have boil over in this round, but who knows, this is kind of early. The temperature is a little cooler than it was the other day. I'm reading about 64, 65 down here. I have this little thermometer here that I like using. Almost 66, which is pretty ideal for most temperatures when fermenting, because obviously when the brew is fermenting, it's gonna make things hotter. So that's just my room temperature. I need to get a thermometer around that jug to actually have an accurate temperature of what's going on inside. But I think we're doing good. If it was warmer, you'd probably see a little more bubbling action. But I'm okay with that, because I know that my beer's fermenting, and it's fermenting properly, and I don't have any boilovers right now, which makes me even happier. So that's it. I'm going to swing over to the other batch real quick. This is the one we did a couple of days ago. And I cleaned up my boil over. It doesn't look like I have any action going on in the airlock. But like I said, I generally let things sit for at least a week before doing anything about it. And then here I have, down here, yes, I do have a lot of things going on. I have a, let me see if I can get in there. A Synchronicity Extraordinary Wheaten Saison that I did with my friend Tony the other day, a couple days ago, and as you can see, there's a lot of activity going on here. I put this in my better bottle carboy system. I have glass carboys, but I do like better bottles. They're lighter. I do like their system. It's pretty funky. It's this airlock right here. It's a dry airlock. Same kind of concept. Air can get out, but nothing can get in. And there's actually like a huge ball bearing in there that allows air to escape, but it slams down on the opening when something tries to get in. So that's pretty cool. And that's about it. So the next time I guess I'll be recording is when I transfer some of this stuff. Cheers.